and gentlemen, welcome to the Tea and Crystals podcast. I am T.
And I'm Crystal.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we are so happy to have you all with us for another episode of this here podcast. Now, we have so many things to get into today, but before we do, you know how I got to start the show. Crystal, how are you, my friend?
Struggling a little bit. My mic was just all off.
Girl.
I just
It's the
noticed
Struggle
it.
Bus episode.
It
It
is.
is
I
the
was
Struggle
like,
Bus. That's the name
something
of this episode, Struggle Bus.
already named. Yeah, I'm doing good. It's been an uneventful week, obviously. Honestly. Haven't heard back from any of the jobs yet. I got to apply for a few more things, got shortlisted for one.
I know that's right.
But that one had so many applications. I was one of the first people to put my application in, and then I went back a couple hours later to look, and now there's over 115.
Ooh,
and I know compared to that much, it's not the strongest. So we'll
you
see.
never know.
You never know.
You never know.
You're right. So we'll see. But yeah, other than that, it's been pretty uneventful week.
Well, I'm just
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna let the audience know that this is my Struggle Bus episode. Crystal and I had our pre-show meeting, and I told her, I played myself. I went out on the town last night, had a wonderful time. However, I decided at my big age to stay out until 1 o'clock in the morning, knowing that I had to be somewhere at 11 o'clock the next morning. So I'm hurt, and we finna make it. We finna make it.
We're gonna go.
We finna do this damn thing. So to get right straight up into it, Crystal, I heard you have some fun tea.
Yeah, so
Thanks for us today.
I found this video. So last week we brought up the 4B movement, which I told you about, where they're saying that women aren't messing with men anymore because they're just tired of them. Which is funny because now I'm starting to see some videos from people who are like, oh, this isn't that big of a thing, or it's not really a thing in South Korea. Like TikTok's just making it bigger than it is. I don't know if that's true or not. It's just, I see what I see and I bring it to you guys. But it's getting to a point where there's enough people who are interested enough in the movement to but anyways, so all that to say is I came across another video. Now this lady stitched this other lady's video who originally talked about it. So the original video that was brought this topic up was by Bohemia Diva on TikTok, and then Exotic Priestess
these are some names.
Stitched it. I know. I'm like, I don't want to get this wrong. And it was from Exotic Priestess comments that's what captured my attention. But essentially what their video was talking about is that now, in response to the 4B movement, men are now doing something called a 4G movement.
A 4G?
Basically, saying the same thing, like, oh, you're not going to mess with us? Okay, well, we're not going to mess with you type thing. So, of course, women hearing that have gone in on the comments.
We won't, who do y'all have to mess with if we not messing with y'all? Like, which how does this even make sense?
Look, so let me just read some of these comments to you because they're so good. I'm gonna go through them kind of rapidly because there's so many of them that I want to get through. So one person was like, how did they so entirely miss the whole point? Another person said, we could go outside at night, come through, fellas. Someone said, this is giving I'm not fired, I quit. Someone else said,
for real.
I think we may want to play reverse psychology and say, no, don't do it. Someone said they're out here naming their movement 4G. LOL, why would we want slower internet?
First thing I thought.
Look, someone said we support y'all's Yeah, someone said we support y'all's 4G movement. They said this movement is giving you're not breaking up with me, I'm breaking up with you. They can never not center themselves in everything.
Say it
Someone
again.
right? They doing the work for us. We support their endeavors. Someone else
Not their endeavors. I
someone else
love that.
said someone else said shh, let them think it was their idea.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what are we even talking
Right.
about? Like, sir, there are no options left for you. What you mean you not gonna talk to me? You are already talking to a brick wall.
Someone said like in response to your demands to leave you alone, we'll get you back by leaving you alone. So there. Like okay.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Someone said don't threaten me with a good time, which I love. Someone else said,
Yeah.
do they promise? And then my personal favorite, this is my personal favorite, and the last one is men can't find 1G, let alone 4.
Ooh.
Oh, that had me dying.
No.
Had me
They
dying.
can't find 1G, let alone 4. Ooh.
Yeah.
This
So
is struggle bus episode for real. Y'all girls are struggle.
look.
From what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
From what I heard.
They brought up the alpha
We've been
dom in the comments. Like,
Alpha
I was
Dom. What
weak.
the hell is that?
Lord. Don't get me started on this
Alpha
beat.
Dom?
There's this
Isn't it the
guy.
same thing? Alpha and Dominant?
No. So there are men out
Mm.
there who like to say
Mm-hmm.
they're alphas. And let me just preface this, men. If you have
Mm-hmm.
to tell someone you're an alpha,
Mm-hmm.
you're not an alpha. You missed the whole point of that whole thought process. But anyways, I digress. So there's men out there who claim they're alphas or whatever. So there's this one guy. I gotta show you the video. I have to show you the video for it to really come across. If you are on TikTok, please
Okay.
look. I don't even know if I want you to look it up and have to see this because like you should be allowed peace in your life, and I don't want to disrupt that. But
Yeah,
there's a
girl.
guy out there. He calls himself Alpha Dom. He's giving men advice on how to get women. And based on his name alone, you can imagine the advice he is giving. And for him to look and speak the way he does,
Not he's giving. I'm getting real tired of your broken promises. It's not giving broken promises, is it?
it
I
is
know that's not what
it
it's
is
giving. Oh my
it
god.
is giving broken
It is.
promises.
Crystal, I hate you, yo. She said
I
it is.
I hate
And this
myself
is
a little
not to
bit.
make, we are not making
No,
fun of people with lisps.
no,
Okay.
we're not. Despite how Timmy just reacted to that statement, but y'all, if you need
Really
to
not.
if you need to see it to believe it, I guess his handler is Alpha Dom. And his videos, I
Alpha
honestly, to be perfectly honestly, to help with your
girl.
piece, just find someone who has stitched his video. You'll get a little quick second clip, which is all you need, and then you can see what we're talking about. But he's
Have you,
not.
in that same lane, have you heard of the passport bros? The guys
I've
who go to other countries
mm-hmm.
to essentially pay for women of the night, but they like, it's kind of like those extended stay hotels.
Yes.
It's kind of renting women,
Yes.
kind of, where these
Yes.
girls are like, these men who make very average salaries in the
Mm-hmm.
year can go down to these countries where the exchange rate is higher,
Mm-hmm.
and all these women really want is a weekend of a good time and some money,
Mm-hmm.
where they get to go down there and act like, who they aspire to be in the United States, because American women have Oh, nope. Oh, I was
Nope.
about to get in trouble.
I was about to say,
American women have a different standard and
right.
different priorities and can do for themselves because of the way society is structured in America.
Mm-hmm. You
And they
know,
don't need these scrubs, you know.
I wouldn't even say necessary. It's just because women in America, the way that these types of men go to these countries, they're made out to be like they're millionaires, and we just don't have as much
Yeah.
as that paying attention into the American women. So, but I will say it's you know, it's a catch-22 because it's like, thank God, like, go stay away from us, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I'm so
Child.
sorry that these other women are being put on, having to be forced to do that. I just don't understand that thought
Mm.
process. Like, you go out there to be kings, but it's like you got to pay for it. Like, you realize
Because
the
okay,
only
I don't want to
reason
say
is because you're paying for it.
the women are forced to do it though. These women are very smart. They getting a lick. Like these
Right.
women are like,
Right.
come here and give me all that money. You got all
Right.
I got to do is pretend I like you for a weekend and maybe
Mhm.
get a little bit of piece of cookie cat. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But a good many of the men down there, there's videos of them like arguing with these women because they didn't spent all this money on these women, and these women is not giving up the box for nothing.
Good.
They're like,
Good for
you finna
them.
show me a good time, and that's all, and that's about it. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Some of the women give up the box,
Right.
as an incentive.
Mhm.
But some of them passport bros be on there hooping and hollering, crying, complaining because they didn't pay. You know, okay, they didn't pay some money.
You're right. Yeah, I haven't seen
Girl,
any
I'm
of
about
the
to get in
actual
trouble. I am teetering the line. You
I
see me
haven't seen
struggle.
I haven't seen any actual videos, but I have heard of the phrase, and I assume that's kind of what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
for some of them, especially, I don't know, you just be careful. Some of the countries they visit to, there's a lot of things that are legal there that aren't legal here, or they're at least
Mm-hmm.
not looked at closely, and some of the vices that they can get into. I,
Mm-hmm.
I'll just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Just be
And
careful,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Good luck, passport bros. I hope that you get everything that you're looking for, including venereal
Robbed.
diseases.
Uh,
Um, okay. So, Chris, I have something for us that we haven't done in a while,
mm-mm.
and I'm really excited about it. I think it's time for us to get a visit from the Florida man.
Mm.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. It's time to get a visit from the Florida man, and I have a story here for you that I'm going to share that is from Fox News by way of Yahoo.com. And it is entitled Drunk Florida Man Beaten After Making Fun of Guests with Down Syndrome at Disney World Resort Bar. And I wish that y'all could see this man's mugshot because they whooped his ass. I don't know who put the paws on him, but they whooped that man ass.
I will say I'm not one who, encourages violence, as someone who doesn't like violence. But sometimes
Mhm.
people really do have the day they deserve.
Baby, okay? Because at the end of the day gotta end. Can I get a name? Here we go.
Amen.
A Florida man was arrested after he allegedly caused a fight at a Disney World bar while intoxicated when he made fun of a woman with Down syndrome, according to an arrest affidavit from the Orange County Sheriff's Police. In the affidavit obtained by Fox News Digital, officers said 61-year-old Brent George was arrested and charged with 4 counts of battery after the altercation that unfolded at Bellevue Lounge, a bar inside Disney's Boardwalk Inn, on January 25th. Just after 9 p.m. on January 25th, 2024, officers responded to the bar in response to a physical fight, later determined to be a battery against 4 victims. When arriving at the scene, officers said George was intoxicated and had several injuries to his face that he claimed were a result of being hit by a glass cup And again, if you see this mugshot, he might be telling the truth because it looked like they took his face across sandpaper.
Hit or just fell into repeatedly. It's really just a
Oh,
matter of
well,
perspective.
yeah, and we'll get into it. George told officers that he was in the Bellevue Lounge, a small bar area in the Boardwalk Resort, with his wife and two family friends, where he claimed he had taken 3 shots of bourbon and drank beer while at the bar. What? You was drinking? Like, who's
Right.
taking shots of bourbon?
Like, I was about to say, because I don't even drink like that, but isn't it kind of a rule of thumb that you shouldn't be mixing your hard liquors and like beer and stuff like that?
It, yeah, I could kind of see it if you're like tapering off. Like some people switch
Mm,
from hard liquor to beer to
right.
kind of coast on a buzz, but you taking shots of bourbon. You're a wild boy to start off. Like who I ain't never heard nobody taking no shots of bourbon at the bar, but that's just me. According to the complaint, the family was sitting at a nearby table when George approached them and started mocking the couple's daughter, who was described as having Down syndrome and was wheelchair bound. The girl's mother then confronted George and asked him if he was making fun of her daughter when George stood up and allegedly shoved her twice. He proceeded to allegedly slap another guest at the table in the face when she tried to intervene, the complaint said. Girl, I said the same thing.
George is
I said,
wildin'.
no. George let fire from her face. He
Like, it's
said,
just,
bitch, shut up.
I don't know if you've ever seen
Boy.
that video. I think it was a couple years ago. There was either a show or a movie
Mhm.
that came out where some guy slaps a kid that's not his. Like, that was the
Oh,
whole
at the
premise.
barbecue.
Yeah. And then
Uh-huh.
someone made like a spoof of it, and it just shows this man slapping people and has people came up to be like, hey, he
Mhm.
just slapped them. This is what it's giving. It's giving
That
that.
is literally what I pictured in my head. She ain't even get a chance to get up all the way up out the chair. And he just
And it's the man's mug that in the video, he's just like,
and we are not laughing at, physical abuse of women or, by men. We're not laughing at that. But the image is
yeah, go watch that video. Go look it up on
humorous.
YouTube. I know it's there. I think it is literally called The
Exactly.
Slap or something like that.
Uh-huh. The husband of the woman who was slapped got involved. That sentence is
A
funny,
little
sorry.
late, sir. There's 3
The
women that
fact,
just
okay, like he didn't
like
already, jonesed on one, pushed another, and slapped the shit
right.
out of another, and you just now getting
Because
involved?
I will say one thing, one thing about my brother and his best friend and everything like that, it
Mm-hmm.
would have gotten one, and because they're always ready to fight, and they would have
Mm,
tackled, jumped, like it would have been done.
it
Like
would
he
have been a
would have had
situation.
no
Yup.
chance because I'm assuming
Mm-hmm.
if you're at a bar, like you guys are all close, so for him to have done all this, like
Yeah. He just
you
came
had
across that one little aisle right to the
right.
table.
The husband had to have
Mm-hmm.
been right there. So to get the slap
Yep.
out, the push, and the other,
Mm-hmm.
like that, sir, that was way too long. Way too long. You should have been
Yeah.
doing something.
So the story continues. It said the husband of the woman who was slapped got involved, and George allegedly punched him in the neck. George was then punched in the head by the husband, according to the complaint. George allegedly told officers that he did not remember anything specific due to being intoxicated. He also said that he was having a good time with the individuals, and then he was attacked by them.
You know what? I'm sure you thought that.
George.
I'm sure you thought that. I'm sure you thought that the things that you were saying were just jokes, and everyone should have just
Everybody was having a
laughed
good
and
time.
right. No offense was needed to be had.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, some people just have the day they
Yeah.
deserve, not necessarily the people who all got hit by this man. All of y'all,
Yeah.
every single one.
So to
Um,
wrap this up, he said one of the witnesses claimed that he saw an individual throw a glass cup at George and overheard someone say they wanted to kill him. However, Officers determined that there was no broken glass found at the scene, and it was believed that no cup was utilized in the incident. An unnamed bystander grabbed George and removed him from the scene, according to deputies. George was evaluated by medical staff. He didn't have any injuries. Then he was taken to jail. He had a court date in March that was canceled, and he has been charged with 4 counts of battery. So yeah, our Florida man was straight set tripping.
It gives me feeling like as the cops are stepping over the broken glass, because come on now, they're like, yeah, I don't see nothing.
As is crunching under their feet.
I don't see any glass. So we're gonna say no, that didn't happen. Because you're obviously intoxicated. That didn't happen. Yeah. That's what it's giving. Well, thank you for that.
Absolutely. You got something for us?
I do. Mm-hmm. Nothing like that, I will say. George was having a good time.
I mean, he thought everybody else was having a good time too. He didn't see what the problem was. All of a sudden, he just got hit in the face with a glass, and shit went left.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is entitled. I think this is again Reddit on Wiki, which I guess someone, and I never put 2 and 2 together when they told me this or when they made a comment. I didn't realize, but I guess Reddit on Wiki is actually a podcast as well. I just thought it was another subreddit because there's so many of them. So sorry if we're taking any of your content. Like, we don't mean to.
Yeah, girl. Oh my God, I have something to tell you after the show. Remind me.
I will try. We both know how my memory is too. I won't know until I'm editing this video. Like, hey, you said this. Anyways, the title is, I told my dad's wife that I want nothing to do with her and her affair baby. She says, I, 17 female, live with my dad. My mom was battling cancer for almost 3 years, but she succumbed to it when I was 16. My mom and dad were also in the process of getting a divorce, but I never knew why. Not even a year, I'd say 7, my dad moved someone else in with her 5-year-old son, and they got married. She came in acting like she ran the place. She wanted all of my mom's things out, and I went ballistic, saying that she's not coming in here throwing away anything of my mom's. I told them when I go to college, I will rent out a storage unit and then I can move it in there. But for now, it's staying in her room. She had a separate room that she would go to after chemo appointments. And like I said, my mom and dad were in the mess up of a divorce, so they were not sleeping in the same room. A few months after she moved in, I was looking through all of my mom's stuff so I could keep account of everything that she had in case she tried throwing anything away. I was looking through her things and saw that she hired a PI to see if my dad was cheating. And he was cheating, all while she was battling cancer. He was cheating with this woman for almost 6 years. This woman is 25 years old, and my dad is almost 46. The past few months, she's been trying to get me to do things with her. She's also tried to force me to watch her son and try to pass it off as sibling bonding time. Right before my mom passed, we were talking about taking a few months before I go to college to travel the world. Before she passed, my mom set something up with my aunt so that I can still do the trip, but I'll do it with my aunt. I'm graduating in May, and as time is approaching, my aunt and I are talking more about it. Saturday, she sat us down to have a family meeting, and she said that she should take over the trip planning from my aunt and that she'll go with me because she's my mom now. And this would be a good bonding time for me, her son, and myself. I shut it down immediately. I told her that this is a trip to honor my mother, my only mother, because I had one and I'm not looking for another one. I told her that she's not coming because I don't want anything to do with her or her affair baby. So stop trying to force it into my life. My dad asked me why I was acting this way and why I won't give her a chance. I told him that she's young enough to be my sister, and I don't want anything to do with the person he was cheating on my mother with, nor do I want anything to do with the baby he had on my mother while she was battling cancer. He tried to tell me I wouldn't understand what it's like to be married to someone who was dealing with cancer, and I asked him, is it as bad as actually dealing with cancer and then finding out your partner is cheating on you and has a secret baby? It's their kid. He's my half brother. He blew up at me and said I had no right to speak to him or his wife this way and that I will be part of this family and I will be taking his wife on the trip. I told him once again, no, I'm not. I'm taking my aunt and he can't do anything about it because I'll be 18 before the trip. She said, when my aunt gets off work, the first thing I'm going to do is immediately talk to her about moving my mom's stuff into a storage unit or into the spare bedroom that's going to be mine when I move out. Just until we get back so I can make sure her stuff is safe because someone said it may not be there when I get back. And I think it would be I would completely lose it if they gave her stuff away when I was gone. She says, I know I cannot keep a storage unit forever, nor can I hold on to everything of my mom's forever, but it's still too fresh in my heart to think about parting with any of her stuff now, even down to a shirt, and she hasn't worn in 5 years.
Immediate question. How old is this girl, did she say?
The OP is 17.
17.
Mother died when she was 16.
Right.
And the dad moved the wife in, who's 25 now, but he's been with her for 6 years. They have a 5-year-old son. He moved her in about 7 months after the mother passed away.
That's crazy. And how long were the mom and dad divorcing?
They were in the process of the divorce, so I don't know.
Well, had they been divorcing for some years, and just
I don't
didn't
know
do it because she had can't. Okay, that's. I was trying to do the math. Like, okay, if this baby is here, he been with this one this long. Okay.
Yeah.
I have terrible things to say, and I'm trying to edit myself so I don't end up in litigation. Because these people deserve the worst. Especially your dad. That man is scum of the earth. Scum of the earth. He's even lower than that. I can't believe, first of all, to be having an affair on your wife who has cancer with a woman half your age is crazy. It's crazy to me. To have a child with that woman, that's a whole nother level of crazy, because that means not only was you cheating on your wife who had cancer, you was in that hole raw. And then you moved her in the house damn near immediately after your wife passed. And you're trying to force this woman onto your daughter. Shout out to the daughter for having the cojones to let her dad and that woman have it. But it's in that girl, she might need to get out that house. She might need to get out that house for her peace, for her safety. She might need to inquire with her aunt, like, listen, girl, I got about a year and change before I go to college. I need somewhere to stay. Because I can't stay with that man.
Less than, I guess. So I guess she's turning 18 before she'll graduate, because she's, or at least before the trip, something like that. And this is happening this year. So I think she said in the comments, the aunt has said if it wasn't for legal reasons, she would have already been moved out of the house, but the dad isn't allowing that. But as soon as she turns 18, there is a room set up at her aunt's for her. So that's already in the works.
Okay. Then that's what I was wondering, because I was like, ain't no way. And why would you, as the dad, want your new girl to go on a trip that's dedicated to your ex-wife that you was cheating on with her? Like, that's so weird. That's psychotic behavior.
Yeah.
This man is dangerous. This man has no conscience. Like, you don't need to be around him no more. And I bet if you cut him off, he would have no problem talking to you ever again. He just seemed like that. He just seemed like that kind of person that he will take it and he will blame it on you. He'd be like, no, you are the one that said you didn't want to talk to me anymore. So I just granted your wish and blah, 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 blah. He finna leave you out the will and everything, girl. I hope you know what's coming. It is honestly, unless you do exactly what he wants you to do for the rest of your days or the rest of his days, God willing. then there's really nothing for you. You know, you're not losing anything by cutting off your relationship with that man,
Mhm.
because he damn sure is going to act like he ain't losing nothing.
Yeah.
So do what you got to do to get the hell from around there when you can. I hope that you can keep your mom's things, because I know they must be. They are very sentimental to you.
Yeah.
You have said that, and I don't see why you can't keep her stuff forever. You know,
Mhm.
maybe not the clothes and stuff, but at least some of her, things that won't deteriorate.
Mhm.
Or figure out some way to preserve those things, because those things are special. They do hold value to you. This is a
Mhm.
way of connecting to your mom. So absolutely, if you can't get that storage unit, or if you can put it in somebody's basement or something, in some good, totes or something, absolutely, they do not, do not, do not, do not. If your dad and his new girl get rid of that stuff, you set that house on fire. I said it. Set the house ablaze. If
Yep.
you finna get rid of my mama's stuff, say goodbye to all y'all shit.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right. I agree. Yeah, and as far as, saying, "Oh, one thing I've learned since my Nana's passing is that grief is not it's not linear. It's not
Mm,
something you get over quickly. I was very, very close with my Nana. I spent many, many years helping my mother take care of her. Um, and that type of loss, it's I mean, we're almost to the year mark, and I still have so many moments where I miss her so much. The grief
mm,
just comes. It's usually at night, when I'm by myself, but it's still there. It's still strong. Anything can trigger a moment where I feel such deep grief about it. I imagine it'll be like that for a very, very long time. I imagine years down the road now, I'll think about it and still get profoundly upset and sad about it.
mm-hmm.
But I will say, to moving a different topic, I find it, I just find it really gross when men in their 40s go after women in their 20s, their teenage or late
Talk about it.
teens, early 20s, mid 20s. It's gross.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
yeah.
What do you have in common with them? Like, why? I mean,
Only
I
one
get
thing.
it. I get it from a man's, I don't want to say all men's, but these men's perspective. It's someone young that they can manipulate, that they, can get them at some men consider their prime, which is nowhere near their prime, but what they consider their prime. Um, it serves some fantasies that I know some of y'all be having. Um,
Gross.
Gross. I don't get it. People want to come
Yeah.
up here so many times and say age is nothing but a number, that there is a point where that might be true. And it is not when men are in their 40s and women are in their 20s. And for women in your 20s who are with these types of men, they are with you because you are easily manipulated. You are
Mm,
easily manipulated. They are getting to you when you don't really have much to your name. You're probably still trying to figure out your career, if you even want to have a career. They're trying to get that baby in you so that you become dependent on them. And they become your whole world. And it never seems to really last. I mean, there's some people out there who are like, "Oh yeah, I've been with my husband for great." You're one of the few, because most of the time it ends up in flames. And men, especially who cheat, will almost always do it again. There's always going to be someone younger and stupider who's willing to go there.
mm,
But these men, they probably got to do their 20s how most people hope or want to. They got to go out, they got to meet people, they got to date, they got to have fun, they got to be stupid, they got to make mistakes, and they got to grow
yeah.
from it. Dish. And they're robbing you of that. Because by the time they're
Mm-hmm.
done with you, you're put to a point where you feel like you're past your prime. You're in your mid 30s, early 40s when it happens, when they finally are finished with you. And then what? You
Mm.
didn't get to do any of that in your 20s. Just you know, there's so many people out there. There's going to be so many people who you're going to meet who you can and will fall in love with. Don't settle for those 40-year-olds. That's so gross. It's so
Listen,
gross.
get use your 20s, right? If you're a young man or a young woman, because you know these cougars, they be out here.
Yes.
Because I looked for one all through my 20s.
Look,
And
and I'm not to
I
interrupt
never
you.
had success.
not to interrupt you, but my brother even tried it. He was like, there was one time he was talking about one of his shipmates or something like that. He was like, yeah, I thought about setting him up with you. And I was like, and I'll admit, I was like, ew. My first thought was ew. And it wasn't because he looked bad or anything like that. He was really sweet. I met him. He was really nice. But my first thought was, he's like a kid. Like, how old is he? And he was like, oh, he's like 23, 22, 23.
Oh,
I was like,
no.
He's a good decade younger than me. And he was like,
Girl.
yeah. And I'm like, no.
Absolutely.
No. What am I supposed to do with that? What am I going to have common with him? Like, what? I was immediately grossed out. So I was just like, no, I can't.
Yeah. You got all that energy and don't know what to do with it.
Not even absolutely that, but he just looks, he gives off that, like, that vibe of, I haven't really experienced the world. I haven't really done much. I haven't seen much, you know, because he's young. He's so young. Yeah. And so I'm just like, it was just.
Right. When you get to a certain age, you really value someone who has something to say. Like, it is very hard out here to find people who have something to say.
Yeah.
You know, some people are so, like, formulaic in how they hold conversations with new people. Like, you got a dog. I got a dog. Let's talk about the thing we love about our dogs. Like, you know, I like to cook. You like to cook. What do we? Stupid shit. What do you think about the industrial complex that plagues? You know what I'm saying? That's the type of conversation I want to have. Right. I don't want to talk about this cookie cutter stuff, you know? And there is nothing that somebody 10 years my junior is going to be able to talk to me about. You still remember your high school graduation clearly. You remember who was sitting to your left and to your right. Right. If you can remember the exact time on the watch when you took your tassel and changed it, I don't want you. Okay? There's absolutely nothing for us. You can't even rent a car on your own.
That's so true.
You got to be at least 21 to check into a hotel.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Let's think about it. I don't want nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Your car insurance ain't even gone down yet. This is crazy.
You can technically still be on your parents' insurance till you're 26.
Yeah. Girl, you still on your mama and daddy insurance. How you going to the hospital to have my child? And we got to make sure that we take your mama and daddy insurance card with us so you can give birth to this baby. Are you out your goddamn mind?
I just can't. You know, I know that there's some people who are mature for their age. I get it, because I was one of those people. People always said for the longest time, you're so mature for your age. And I spent most of my time growing up with adults. But still, I just don't know, as the older person, how you look at these younger people and you're like, I'm gonna.
Yeah. You especially because this girl you said 25?
Yes, and he's been with her for 6 years.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
And he's 46, so he was with her when he was 40.
46. That's disgusting. That's nasty. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's a cliche. There's nothing wrong with it, blah, blah. It's predatory.
It is.
To me, especially when you are a married man. This is you playing with fire. And I just hope for the daughter's sake that she can find some peace in this situation and find some type of resolution and honor her mom in the way that she wishes going forward.
Agreed. And I will say, I don't blame you for not wanting to have a relationship with your half brother. she does mention that she doesn't do anything
Mm-hmm.
outright to be mean to him, or because she knows he's a kid, that he's innocent and all this. She just doesn't want a relationship with him. I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's a wrong thing. That is your boundary and you don't want it.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll
Mm-hmm.
change your mind in the
Yeah.
future when he's older, but for now, I totally get it. So I'm not
Yeah.
hating on you on that too.
I mean, yeah, the baby don't have nothing to do with nothing, but under the circumstances, I completely see why you just don't want to be part of that right now. I'm
Yeah.
totally in agreement with you, Crystal.
Yeah.
That's yeah, girl. Take your time to do what you need to do to find your peace.
Yes.
Crystal, you were absolutely right. You told me in the pre-show meeting that you gonna have something to piss me off, and and you know me,
I do.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Mm-mm.
You ready for this next story?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, y'all. You know where we're going. Say it with me. The Reddit rabbit hole. Yay. Boing,
Yay.
boing, boing. Here we go. This is from the subreddit r/am I the asshole? Yay. Everybody say it with me. And it is entitled, Am I the asshole for saying this is exactly why she never told you about him to my brother about his son? Yeah. Here we go. My nephew is 3 years old and we only found out about him a few months ago. Obviously, the last few months have been rough for all of us, but especially my brother, who I think was in shock and denial for the longest time. One of the big reasons his ex didn't tell my brother about their son was because she didn't want him to grow up spoiled and entitled like most of my family. My parents also really hated her and did a lot to try and get my brother to dump her. For example, my dad had her fired from her grad job, and I think he was the reason that she couldn't get another one in that field for the longest time. So she was scared of how they would react when they found out. My nephew turned 3 right around the time we found out, so we weren't able to celebrate. And his ex would only accept one small gift from my brother for him. So my family is belatedly celebrating his birthday, and they're going all out. My brother has bought more toys than one kid needs and is talking about taking him to Disney, even though there's no way in hell his ex will let him take my nephew abroad. Anyways, we were talking about the party yesterday, and I told my brother we should tone it down and he shouldn't give his son that many gifts in one go because it'll upset his ex and most likely overwhelm my nephew, whose life has already been flipped upside down. I think for my nephew's sake, it would be best if we work with his ex because we're all going to be connected forever, so there's no point in fighting or holding grudges. My brother disagreed and said he wouldn't let his ex dictate his relationship with his son. I was going to explain why fighting with her wouldn't be good for my nephew, but our cousins were all siding with him and shitting on me for defending her. They think I'm only siding with her because she was one of my best friends, and I'm trying to be friends with her again. Child. I do want her as a friend, but that's besides the point. I was irritated they were ganging up on me, and in the heat of the moment, I said, This is exactly why she never told you about him to my brother. He didn't say anything, but my cousins tore me to shreds. My brother has barely spoken to me since, and for some reason, our family is now convinced that I knew about my nephew all along when I absolutely didn't. Excuse me. My brother is also so nasty to his ex now when he wasn't before, and I think it's because he's taking his anger at me out on her. Am I the asshole? Crystal, what say you?
No, you're not the asshole because, the truth hurts. The truth hurts.
Mm.
I'm not saying it was right for her to have kept him from the son from the father all these years. Unfortunately when that happened, it's his baby too. You should have tried to find a way to have done this earlier. But with that being said, this family already sounds crazy. I'm assuming this family comes from money. And when it comes to money, families have this expectation that they can only mingle with money, which I don't know. That is a very limited pool that you are playing in, y'all. They get this idea that they're somehow better than people. And I feel for anybody who has to try to win approval of people who aren't any better than you just because they have money. But it sounds to me like it's not that he's upset with the cousin and is taking it on his ex. I think he's probably upset with the fact that I think it's a combination of things. But I think if he went to therapy, if he really took a look at it, who he's really angry at is himself and his family for having driven this
Come
lady
on.
away and for having caused him to miss out on his son's life and for having his ex to have such a low view of him and his family, which is turning out to be pretty accurate. And I agree with the cousin. I mean, you don't need to. This 3-year-old isn't going to remember, he might remember a memory of Disney, but he's not really going to remember. Why? 3 years old? You don't need to be taking him to Disney. You don't need to be doing all that. It's one of those things where it's like, when it comes to separated parents, some of them, especially if they're not cordial with each other, it's like they keep constantly trying to one-up each other. They keep trying to be the better parents. And you can only throw so much gifts at a child for so long. Eventually, they grow up, they see your actions, and if all you ever do is throw gifts at them, at some point they're not going to look for you when it comes to emotional things. You're not going to be the one they go to talk to you about things that are really bothering them. That they're really having issues with. You won't be that person that you're hoping to be, because gifts and everything like that will only go so far. They're just things. They're just stuff. And it can cause you to create these, no offense, but little monsters for a long time. Some of them grow up and they figure out that that's what they are and they're able to correct that. But it's a long, hard road for them. And it causes people to not like them, to not trust them, to not want to be around them, to use them for trust issues to be there and stuff like that. It's just, I can go on so much about it. But yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's just things. What your child really wants and needs is just your attention. They just want you to be there. They just want you to spend time with them, look at them, do things with them. I mean, it's not something as simple, in movies, they always talk about that kid who just wants to throw catch with their dad. It's the simple things that kids want. I mean, think about when you were a kid, especially if you went through divorce. What did you really want? It wasn't things. You just wanted your parents' attention. So yeah, even if your parents didn't divorce, a lot of times, especially if your parents didn't really pay attention to you, all you wanted was their attention. Just spend time with them. You don't have to spend money on them every time to be the favorite parent.
Right.
They're going to go through phases. It's going to be up and down.
I think, honestly, it seems like the parents, I don't know, obviously the relationship of the brother and the sister with their parents, who have money. But I feel like the reason he's doing it is because that's how his parents express love to him.
Yeah.
So he thinks that's how he's supposed to express love to his kid.
Yeah.
By giving them all these things, all these experiences, because number one, they can, and they know that others cannot. So, how do you feel about? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't know if this was what you were about to say, but even in that sense, this is probably what your parents do. So think about your relationship with your parents. Are they the first people you go to when something happens emotionally? Like, when you're really feeling something and you're upset about something, are they the people you think about when you're like, I really need help with something that doesn't have to do with money? Because if it's no, why is that? It's just things like that. Like, think about it.
How do you feel overall about her, the ex, hiding the child from?
I don't agree with
him
that.
And the family.
At the end of the day, it takes two to tango. And while they were rude to you, I don't think it's okay. It doesn't sound like while they were rude to you, the guy that you were with, it doesn't sound like he was abusive or rude. Maybe he didn't stand up for you, but it doesn't sound like he was abusive, like you were trying to get away from that. You were just trying to get away from your kid possibly being spoiled.
Right. But it
I
was also the fact that the parents were manipulative because the dad got her fired.
Yeah. I
So
understand
she
that.
was like, "Oh my God, if y'all hate me this much, y'all
Yeah.
might like what's gonna happen to my child? Like you went that far with me, and I was just that man girlfriend that y'all
Yeah.
didn't like. You know what I'm saying? What can you possibly do to my child? You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, at the end of the day,
But I'm with you.
she did eventually bring him, you let them know at a young enough age where they can still very much be a part of his life. So
Hmm.
I don't know this girl's situation. I mean, I don't know what I would have done if they sound like they're pretty young too. So I don't want to villainize her
Yeah.
in any way and be like,
Mm-mm.
I I'm sure it was a very scary time for her and she did what she thought was best. Being older and being able to look at it from an outside perspective, it's easy for me to be like, you shouldn't have let, you shouldn't have left, you shouldn't have kept the son away from the father for that long, or at all, whatever like that. But being in the situation, I can't say, at that age if I would have done or not, especially when it comes to a family that very clearly didn't like you and they only didn't like you because of your status.
Hmm.
So
But that
I don't,
family does sound insufferable.
it's
Like,
giving Murdaugh family.
ooh, child. Did you just see that the Murdoch man just got a whole bunch of more years in jail behind some other charges?
Good. Throw them all
Like,
at him.
I mean, but it really do sound like that family, like
Mm-hmm.
where it's just they have their ecosystem, they're going to protect each other. Like, it's crazy that money does that to people, does that to families.
Mm-hmm.
Like maintaining the image, maintaining the money is like the most
The
important
most.
thing
Mm-hmm.
to them. Like they have
Mm-hmm.
some type of pedigree because they have money. Like
Right.
I don't understand how money can just, I mean, if that's what you grew up in, then that is you,
Yeah.
you know. But someone somewhere in your family attained this wealth.
Yeah.
So why
and
did they
and that
mold your
mindset
family
of
like
it.
this?
Yeah.
Exactly. Right,
It
right.
what's right and what's wrong morally becomes very, very skewed and different. Like,
Mm.
what they find acceptable and okay is only that way because of money. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
don't, I can't imagine, getting a lot of money and that allowing that to change me so
Mm-hmm.
fundamentally. I mean, I
Mm.
mean, I've seen it with people in power. When we worked at the place that we shall not name,
Ooh.
I had a friend who got a position above me, and their personality changed. We weren't friends very much long after that because their personality change
Mm.
was so different, and it just
Yeah.
baffled me that little bit of power allowed
Mm-hmm.
that personality shift, or at least allowed this type of personality to emerge and be seen,
Yeah.
because I had no idea. I genuinely thought, I was so happy for this person when they got this position, because we were actually both going for this position, but I was very happy when she got this position, and I thought she was going to do great. I thought she was such an professional person, and she was a people person, and she was going to do so good in it, and I was wrong.
Mm.
And I don't know how I was so wrong about that. It's just crazy.
And you know what's crazy? At that place, we witnessed it happen multiple times
Multiple
with
times.
people who were given positions of responsibility and then positions of power. Uh, uh, I was about to say something else,
Yeah.
about to make it a little too obvious,
Yeah.
but there were people who moved around there where how they were before and after, like you said, was night and day. And the fact that we
Mm-hmm.
saw that happen over and over again really lets you know, like, the human condition, there are I'm not gonna say there's few people, but it's more rare than it should be when people move into positions of, you know what? It comes from a place of lack because honestly, in that scenario, what power do you really have? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was more of them trying to exert and perform in that position than it was actually about having the power
Yeah.
in that position. So they maximized their authority by doing the shit that they did. I can't really say.
I know.
You can say, but I can't say.
No, I mean you're right. I can say.
You can say. I
Yeah.
literally cannot say.
I
Yeah,
didn't sign those
girl.
forms, but
Y'all, all I'm gonna say is take it from me. If they slide something in front of you, do not put that pen to that paper.
mm-mm.
Don't put that pen to that paper.
Nope.
Because
It ain't worth
you
it.
end up in a situation like me where I can't say what the hell I want to say. Okay, well, anything else you have for this young lady?
No, I will definitely say,
Good luck.
yeah, honestly, I don't think you're the asshole. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I hope moving forward, especially for the man, I hope he can let some of his anger go. I understand the anger, but I do hope that he realizes where his anger is truly coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And that he can learn to, because I think the cousin is offering some very solid advice. You just don't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, best of luck to you guys in that situation.
Best of luck. And best of luck to you all out there who have been listening to this podcast. We truly appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Tea and Crystals podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure that you leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you are listening. Make sure that you also leave a written review because we want you to tell the people what you love about this show. Now, I'm going to pause here because I'm dead ass. Okay. I want to see those written reviews on Apple Podcasts, on Amazon Music, on iHeartRadio, on Spotify. I need to see them. I need y'all to share what you love about the show. Thank you for the DMs. They're so sweet. Thank you for the in-person compliments that you give us when you see us. Put this shit on wax. Okay, we need y'all to tell people what you love about this show so they can love it too. Thank you for allowing me to cuss y'all out. If you like what you saw, make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Shout out to us. We reached that 1,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. So keep going. If you have not subscribed, go over there and subscribe today. We have a good old time over there on the YouTube. If you have any questions, comments, or you would like to share your own story with us, please do so at teaandcrystal@gmail.com. That's teaandcrystal@gmail.com. Make sure that you look in the description of wherever you are listening or watching for the address. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Facebook at Tea and Crystal Podcast. Make sure that you search that. Follow us on TikTok at Tea and Crystals Podcast. Look out for TikTok lives. By the time this one is released, we would have done our first TikTok live. Depending on if that was a raving success or we crashed and burned, we may or may not do another one. Make sure that you also follow us on Instagram at Tea and Crystals Pod. Now, Crystal, is there anything else you want to say to the people before we get the hell up out of here?
I'm just imagining someone going to our reviews and being like, I like it when Timmy cusses us out on the podcast.
I'm not asking y'all nicely. I'm not doing it. I've asked y'all nicely for weeks, and you ain't done it yet. So guess what? It's about to get real BDSM around here. It's about to get real Dom sub around here. Okay. Ooh.
Thank you guys so much, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Let's see. Bye.